Hi, I'm Burnett and I'm delighted to have you join me for Periods Don't Stop for Pandemics. I'm the founder and CEO of Saphara, and we are passionate about transformational education which enables every child to flourish. For the past 20 years, I've been privileged to work alongside some amazing grassroots NGOs in India providing education for the poorest children. Children in impoverished Himalayan villages and in marginalised urban slums, and more recently in tribal lands where Indigenous peoples live. And one thing I've learned over my many years as a teacher and educator is that the messages that children receive growing up has huge potential to affect their lives. And I know especially some of the very negative messages that the girls that we've been working with have received, sometimes from their family, sometimes from their community. And I want to share with you some of the messages that they have shared with me. You're not wanted. Sadly, many pregnant women are under pressure throughout the world to have a son. Many societies and communities have a real desire for boys rather than girls. And so in places like India, it's actually illegal for a doctor to tell a pregnant woman the sex of her baby before it's born, because there are so many abortions simply because a baby is a girl. You're not as smart as your brother. It's wonderful because more girls than ever before are going to school along with their brothers. But the sad thing is when they get home, they often have to carry out all sorts of household chores that their brothers don't have to do. And so the brother gets a chance to do his homework, whereas the girl doesn't. And obviously that will result in her lagging behind. And so often then she's pulled out of school because you're not as smart as your brother. You're just a girl. Sadly, so many dreams and aspirations of the girls that we've been working with get this response. And we're really trying to reverse that message so that girls know that they can attain great things, they can dream of great things for their lives and can achieve so much. You'll be leaving this family soon. Sadly, many girls in many communities around the world get married before the age of 18. Child marriage is a real problem. There's about 12 million girls married every year before their 18th birthday. And so girls know that often in poor communities, they're going to be married. Some of the communities we work with, girls are getting married as young as 11 and 12 years old. You can imagine the damaging effect that has on a young girl, knowing that she may get married so early in life. You're too dark. Sadly, in many communities around the world, girls are told that their skin is too dark for them to be beautiful. We're increasingly aware of racism in all kinds of aspects with Black Lives Matter. And this is a real issue for many girls worldwide. And even if a girl does get through her childhood years with a reasonably robust sense of herself and her self-worth, sadly when she reaches puberty, many extra negative messages come in. And one of them is, you're unclean. Girls are seen as unclean because they're having that very natural menstrual experience. And yet, many girls are made to feel shame, made to feel like they're sinful. You can't go to the temple when you're having your period. You can't cook in the kitchen. You can't make pickle because it will go sour. You can't look at a newborn baby. You'll curse its life. These messages are so powerful. And I want to introduce you to a wonderful young woman that we've been working with who's been delivering our menstrual health programs through our partner NGO, EcoFam. And Calvi is going to give you a little bit more of an insight into the challenges facing adolescent girls.
I'm Calvi, working at EcoFam as a menstrual educator and trainer. As soon as the girl gets her first period, from their first source of information, that is their mother or their close family members, the word that the girl hears is dirty or shame, and they are asked to do certain kind of activities like restrict themselves to sit in a corner, and they are given plate and spoon separately, and all of a sudden they feel that they are inadequate, they are weak, and they lack confidence, and they feel compressed. And when I go to do session, when I say that I am here to talk about menstruation, the girls feel very shy, to open up. They giggle, they don't watch into my eyes, they feel very very shy. Yeah, and also the girls skip schools because of the lack of poor toilet facilities in schools. For example, the schools will be having toilets, but it will be locked, or the toilet there will not be proper water facility, and there might be only one or two toilet, and which will be like extremely dirty and very smelly, and the girl feels not so comfortable using the bathroom in the school. So first of all, when I go from EcoFem, we don't really talk about EcoFem cloth pad. We actually talk about all the products that is available in today's market. We talk about all the aspect of each product, like how it is manufactured, how to use it, how to dispose it, how many hours we should use each product. We give all the adequate information about each and every product. And then at the end of the session, we ask the girls to choose one of them. And mostly 98% of girls, they end up in choosing cloth pads. And when we ask the reason, like what made them to make such kind of choice, the girls say that they feel that this is perfect for their body when they consider health aspect, and actually the environmental aspect will be the secondary. And after hearing like what is the reason why they get their period, and after getting aware of what is really happening to their body physically and what are the biological process they are going through, it makes the girls feel very powerful. And they also say like they want to pass on this information to their own mother and family. It makes them feel more stronger and powerful. Yeah, it empowers them a lot.
Thank you.
So for girls, receiving these negative messages through childhood and during puberty can lead to a vulnerability that makes them vulnerable to shame, to abuse, to child marriage, and even to sex trafficking. So what can be done? For the past 10 years, Saphara has been developing with our local partners in India the Girl Champions programme, where we're taking teachers and young women as facilitators, and we're helping them discover their own value and worth so that they begin to see their own character strengths, they begin to understand their own potential, and that message of value and worth can then be brought back to their schools and to the girls that they're working with. And what we do is we create communities of compassion and support where girls feel safe to share challenges that they face, where they discover their character strengths, where they discover that together they can work to make a real difference in their own lives and in the lives of their communities. So it has a real ripple effect. Mums have spoken to me about the fantastic difference it's made to them and to their families that their daughter is coming home and sharing these things with the mother and helping her to feel valued as well. So it's having a real impact on girls, on their self-worth, their self-esteem, and then their dreams and aspirations. And they know that they can do great things with their lives. As well as helping girls to understand their value and worth, we're providing menstrual health education and helping girls explore methods of sustainable menstruation through washable pads from organisations like EcoFam. But into all of this has come COVID-19. We are aware of the very significant impact that lockdown has had globally. We know that gender-based violence has increased. We know that The economic downturn has meant that there's great deprivation in many, many poor communities around the world. Just last week, 2 major reports came out which really were shocking reading. One from the United Nations and the other from Save the Children. And I just want to share with you a few of the statistics that I thought were most alarming. 10 million children, they reckon, who are out of school will never return, and most of those are girls. And we know that poorly educated, poorly resourced girls are those who are most vulnerable to gender-based violence. Also, they reckon that 2.5 million extra girls are going to end up in child marriages because parents feel that they have no other choice. I want to share with you a photograph that is one of my great favourites. About 18 months ago, I had the great privilege of meeting these wonderful girls in Jharkhand, part of the Adivasi tribal communities that are there. We've been working in Jharkhand now for about 3 years, and it has been a really amazing experience. When I first met the teachers from this school 3 years ago, they said to me, "Christine, how could these girls do this program? They can't even make eye contact with their teachers. How can we talk to them about character strengths and getting them to share their issues and problems and fears?" And here they are after 2 years, in fact, probably about 18 months later. They are, and whenever I met them last April, the most amazing girls and young women, just passionate about discovering their own values, discovering about their own strengths. And so you can imagine how shocked I was to read this statistic. During the lockdown in Jharkhand, the state of tribal indigenous peoples, there was a 600% increase in child trafficking. Can you imagine that? So many children, and mainly girls, trafficked during lockdown simply because parents felt they had no other choice. Can we appreciate the desperation that leads parents to feel that child marriage and even sending a daughter off to a local city to get a job that often doesn't materialise and ends up in her being trafficked? Can we imagine that desperation? It is just such a challenge and so difficult. So what can we do? Is there anything that can be done? And I would suggest that first of all, we need to support grassroots organisations that are working on the ground, organisations like Saphara that know what's happening in local communities. We have been bringing, through our partners, relief, food and other essential resources, including sanitary pads, to these communities to reduce the desperation that leads to these terrible outcomes. We are continuing with our Girl Champions programme, and we know that even when these have to happen through telephones, that it gives girls an opportunity to share the challenges that they're facing. And sometimes those are really serious challenges. It is so easy in the midst of a global pandemic for us to focus on ourselves, to think about our own families and our own communities and keeping ourselves safe. But let's look beyond our own concerns. Let's make 2020 a turning point where we prioritise the most vulnerable. Let's give hope to those who feel that they have no hope. Let's create communities of justice and compassion where every child can flourish. I believe there is hope, and I want to give the final word to some of the most hopeful people I have ever met.
what is this book?
This is computer for 11th class.
Thank you.
I am taking Saphara sessions from last year. I think it is a very effective resilience program for girls and teachers also.
It is not a classroom. It's a huge platform to girls, for girls, to sharing their problems.
It is very helpful for us. It has had very important role in our lives.
Sir को हम बोले, sir बोले. Hi, my name is Hasnoon and my character strength is honesty. Hi, my name is Madhuri Tudu. I learn forgiveness.
Hello, I am Kavita Tudu. I learn not to hurt anybody.
When I taking the session, I learn creativity with the students. When they create something, I think that I am also be creative.
We learn it.